We're in the early stages of that development.
You've mentioned the defense spending a couple of times. You referred to it as dual use.
Yeah.
First of all, Canada had been a laggard on defense spending. Trump sort of highlighted that quite pointedly. But now you've committed to, I believe it's 5%, 3.5% of military spending and 1.5% of infrastructure spending. When you talk about dual use, are you talking about, is that in lieu of buying more military equipment per se? Is that or do you see yourself buying more?
It's a couple of things. I mean, we have a lot of catch up to do. We're not alone in that in NATO. We're resolute that we will catch up. So we are getting to the 2% level this year, which you can argue we should have been at before, but we're getting there this year. And then you have the ramp up towards 5% by 2035, 5% of GDP by 2035. And for those who don't follow it quite as closely, what we agreed to, everyone in NATO agreed to, is of that 5%, 3.5% is pure defense spending, and 1.5% is related to defense, resilience, building that out. So everything in that 1.5% effectively is dual use and has other benefits for your economy. But even if we set that aside and just focus on the 3.5% of pure, NATO is going to be spending a lot more on cyber, a lot more on AI integrating systems. I'm sure you've had lots of discussions here around drone warfare and the integration there. We will be spending necessarily, from a military perspective, the end uses on some of the critical minerals, I mean, literally are militarily critical. So our development of that for our defense purposes, first and foremost, has direct spillover benefits because AI expertise, being able to integrate big data lakes and optimize across them, well, that is a skill that is transferable, readily transferable to other aspects of the economy. So we see a lot of the way, this is part of the advantage, last point, part of the advantage of coming late. Sometimes you go to some emerging and developing economies and have much better cell coverage because they came late. They did it right. This is, we're coming late to some of the spend, but at a time when the nature of security and conflict and warfare and what's needed is changing very rapidly, and it actually plays to some of our strengths.